Good morning and welcome to today's ceremony. My name is Dale Ikeda, Honorary Consul of Japan in Fresno and formerly Fresno County Superior Court Judge here in Fresno County. It is my honor to serve as your Master of Ceremonies for this historic occasion. Today's ceremony is co-sponsored by the Central California District Council of the Japanese American Citizens League and the Human Rights Coalition of the Central Valley, and supported by many community partners listed in the flyer for today's event. We thank California State University Fresno for hosting this event and serving as stewards of the trees we plant in the Peace Garden today. We also thank the County of Fresno, the City of Fresno, and the City of Clovis for proclamations declaring August 3rd through 9th, 2020 as U.S.-Japan Peace Week. The tree planting ceremony for the Hiroshima peace trees marks the 75th anniversary of the American bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan, 75 years ago. It was on this day, on August 6, 1945, at 8:15 a.m., that the American bomber known as Enola Gray dropped the first atomic bomb, known as Little Boy, on Hiroshima, Japan, instantly killing over 70,000 Japanese, mostly civilians. Over 100,000 Japanese succumbed to the effects of the bomb in the days that followed. On August 9, 1945, at 11:01 a.m., a second atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. On August 15, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender, ending the hostilities of World War II. It is estimated that 70 to 85 million people died during the war, including over 3 million Japanese and over 400,000 Americans. The number who died is only one measure of the cost of war. Cities, lives, and the environment were devastated. In the midst of this destruction, life persevered, giving hope that humanity and nature would survive and thrive. Near the epicenter of the blast at Hiroshima, a camphor tree miraculously survived the nuclear blast. Today we plant 3 trees from seeds of that miracle tree as part of the Green Legacy Hiroshima Peace Tree Project. The seeds were collected in 2015 by Green Legacy Hiroshima and given to Dr. Hideko Tamura Snyder, founder of the One Sunny Day initiatives, for germination and distribution throughout the world. The seeds were germinated at South Oregon University in a greenhouse there. At a medical conference, Dr. Miho Yoshida, who's present, a professor at California Health Sciences University in Clovis, met Dr. Miko Rose, the daughter of Dr. Tamura Snyder. Dr. Yoshida learned about the One Sunny Day initiatives and the seedlings. That started a collaboration that eventually brought the trees we plant today to the Peace Garden here at Fresno State. The Peace Garden is an appropriate home for the Hiroshima peace trees as a symbol of rebirth, resilience, and hope for a more peaceful world. The garden's mission is to promote the nonviolent resolution of conflicts. The concept was born in 1990 in an effort led by Dr. Sudarshan Kapoor, who is also here, Professor of Peace and Conflict Studies and member of the Human Rights Coalition. Dr. Kapoor has served as a catalyst and force for the project we dedicate today. The Peace Garden started with an initial statue of Mahatma Gandhi. Additional statues of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Jane Addams, and Cesar Chavez have been added to the garden. Today, those statues are adorned with origami cranes, symbolizing healing, peace, and hope for the world. If you go to Hiroshima, you will see thousands of cranes displayed at the Hiroshima Children's Monument. The Peace Garden provides a serene environment for reflection, contemplation, and peaceful discussion. We hope the miracle trees of Hiroshima will be part of the dialogue for many years to come. At this time, we have a blessing from Reverend Kake Nakagawa, originally from Hiroshima. Reverend Nakagawa is the Rinban of the Fresno Betsuin Buddhist Temple. Reverend?
Please join me in meditation. O serene, O free, Nam Amita Abba. In that hot summer day, under a blinding flash, which suppressed by brightness of the sun, we human beings entered into a new era against our will. We human beings, Homo sapiens, in the long ages, have been living our lives merely foreboding death as individuals. But since that day, we must recognize a foreboding of the biological death of entire race. Our truth self came into view in a moment for the first time. But at the present time, we still don't recognize our deadly foolishness that may cause the total downfall of all species on the planet Earth itself. O serene, O free, it is 75 years after these double tragedies of Hiroshima August 6th and Nagasaki August 9th. But the people do not seem to realize the true impact of it yet. Only the greed that is based on blind feelings due to fear of death has burst forth to become a gigantic monster as such. And currently, the entire world is actually under the unbearable sufferings by muted virus COVID-19. O serene, O free, in thine immeasurable mercy and goodness, wipe away all dark stains from the heart of this earth. Today, the seedlings of Jumper tree, which survived the hell under the atomic bomb, moved from Hiroshima, will be planted here in the soil of Central California. O serene, O free, the souls of our forgotten children of Central California, who had to die young in their loneliness 75 years ago in Hiroshima, have returned to their hometown as a symbol of world peace. Touch them with thy right hand now. Bring harmony into our life and bring rhythm of eternal hope by all means. Nam Amitabha. Our actions are our only true belongings. We cannot escape the consequences of our actions. Our actions are the ground on which we stand. Nam Amitabha. Amen. Allah illallah.
Thank you, Reverend. At this time, we'll have greetings from the university from Provost Saul Jimenez Sandoval and Vice President Deborah Adician Aston.
Good morning, everyone. It's my honor to be here and to welcome you to Fresno State. We gather here to celebrate three trees, three descendants of survivors of an atomic bomb. In the sap of these trees, there exists a memory of survival before adversity, a memory of resiliency and resourcefulness, and ultimately, a memory of life and hope. We have 3 camphor trees. They will grow, and their roots will communicate with the 3 camphor trees that you see here behind me as well. These hibaku jumoku, or bombed trees in English, will become a permanent addition to our peace garden. This peace garden at Fresno State represents our best intentions to collaborate with each other, to reach out and form bonds of friendship, and to support and understand each other as human beings. The trees will grow strong with our fertile soil and our California sun, and their roots will run deep and represent our resolve to honor the memory of life, the memory of hope, and our resolve to promote peace. Thank you.
I would like to, on behalf of President Castro, who was not able to be here today, just express and welcome our dignitaries and to thank you so much for allowing Fresno State to be home to these important 3 additions to our campus grounds and to our Peace Garden. As we all know, Dr. Kapoor, this was his dream of having this Peace Garden here at Fresno State, and it has flourished, and it is an important area for reflection and remembrance of peace and hope for our community and for our students. This is a very special day, and we are very honored that you thought of Fresno State to be home to these important remembrance of what transpired and what we hope for the future. And I want to thank Justice Ikeda for your leadership and advocacy, and appreciate all you do in the community. And again, want to welcome and thank you all for being here today. We realize that we are in a different time, and appreciate everyone's understanding and care for what we're going through, and appreciate you all being here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. At this time, if you would please stand, and we'll observe a moment of silence as it approaches 8:15 a.m., the time the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, it's my honor to introduce the Consul General of Japan, Toru Maeda, from the San Francisco Consulate.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Toru Maeda, Consul General of Japan in San Francisco. It's an honor to join you today. On August 6, 1945, 75 years ago today, more than 100,000 people lost their lives to an atomic bomb detonated in Hiroshima. 3 days later, another atomic bomb was dropped in Nagasaki. As many as 70,000 people lost their lives. So today is a very solemn day for all of us Japanese people. We deeply feel the weight of tragedies. We honor the lives, those people. May their souls rest in peace. Survivors also suffered after effects and persevered through many hardships. So we remember those lives, so we will not repeat the same tragedy. The World War II was certainly a devastating period for both Japan and the United States. Both sides suffered immense casualties and damages. But despite this painful history, both nations began to look to the shared future and started to mend our relationship. Today, Japan and the United States are the closest friends and allies. Our relations are excellent and one of the strongest in the world. We are also a win-win economic and business partners with mutual trust and respect. This excellent relations is owed to continuous and dedicated efforts by the governments and people on both sides, including all of you today here. So thank you very much. As for Fresno, I understand it has a long connection with Japan, as Japanese people began arriving in 1890s. For the past 50 years, Fresno has enjoyed a strong relationship with the sister city Kochi. Today it is an honor to plant these comfort trees, descendant of those that survived the bombing in Hiroshima here in Fresno. I'd like to thank the Japanese American Citizens League, Fresno State University, Fresno Sister Cities, and Mr. Dale Ikeda for organizing today's ceremony. Despite the challenges we face today, I'm so thankful for the efforts in making this event possible. I'd also like to express my appreciation to Fresno State's Provost Saul Jimenez Sandoval and Vice President Deborah Edicia Naystone, and also Dr. Kapoor, to commemorating this occasion on your university's grounds. I'm also very grateful to City of Fresno, County of Fresno, and Cities of Clovis issuing an official proclamation marking this occasion. I'd like to thank Reverend Kakei Nakagawa of the Fresno Buddhist Temple, Reverend Akiko Miyake Stoner of the United Japanese American Church, and Mr. Norman Otani of the Hiroshima Chuka Kenjinkai for representing the Japanese culture community in Fresno. I understand the community is currently experiencing much hardship due to the pandemic. I'd like to express my sincere wishes for the city's safety. In closing, I thank you very much for all of you to commemorate this occasion with an act of beautiful symbolism. I personally very touched to see the people in the United States remember the tragedies of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and share our wish, hope, peace. Thank you very much.
Please remain for just a moment.
Sure.
Dr. Kapoor. Fresno State would like to present you a little remembrance of this occasion.
Okay, sorry.
At this time, we'll hear comments from Norman Otani, as noted, President of the Hiroshima Chuka Kenjinkai.
Thank you, Dale. Good morning, everyone. First of all, on behalf of the members of Chuka Hiroshima Kenjinkai, I want to thank all of the supporting organizations and individuals' hard work that has culminated in today's Hiroshima tree planting here in the Peace Garden at Fresno State. During the annual Chuka Hiroshima Kenjinkai Memorial Service, which was canceled this year due to COVID-19, I usually update the members each year about the progress that is being made to eliminate nuclear weapons and other information received directly from Hiroshima, Japan, government officials, such as the mayor of Hiroshima, who makes a peace declaration at the annual Peace Memorial event on August 6th each year. This year, I received a message from the Hiroshima Prefecture Governor Hidehiko Yuzaki. I would like to read excerpts from his message, as this will convey our message for today's Hiroshima tree planting event. As such, I'll consider all of you honorary members of Chuka Hiroshima Kenjinkai as I read these excerpts. To all of you from the overseas Hiroshima Kenjinkai, I would like to express my gratitude for your consistent efforts serving as goodwill ambassadors between Hiroshima Prefecture and your respective areas. In response to Hiroshima's appeals, the then President of the United States, Barack Obama, visited Hiroshima in 2016. The UN adopted the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons in 2017, and Pope Francis visited Hiroshima in November of last year. All of these serving as catalysts to accelerate the international discussion on the abolishment of nuclear weapons. This growing momentum is due to the various actions over many years of people connected to Hiroshima, such as yourselves, including the respective Kenjinkai holding peace memorial events every year, and Hibakshas, these are the survivors of the Hiroshima bombing, appeals to the international community. So I would like to once again express to you all my deepest respect. In recent months, needless to say, COVID-19 has spread globally, which shows that we live in one world sharing the same predicament. COVID-19 has made the danger posed to each individual human being be put first, national borders losing their meaning and exposing the limitations of nation states. The threat of nuclear weapons is the same. Precisely because we are in this moment, we must look beyond the boundaries of our own countries, uniting the world in order to accelerate efforts to abolish nuclear weapons. So in closing, I want to highlight that in our local Central Valley community, there are also many efforts being made by organizations such as Peace Fresno, the International League of Women for Peace and Freedom, and the Human Rights Coalition that share our support of the common goals of no more Hiroshimas, no more Nagasakis, no more wars. By sharing these common goals, I believe a culture of peace can evolve. And today's Hiroshima tree planting in the Peace Garden here at Fresno State is a wonderful event which will provide a living, natural reminder to all those who attend or visit Fresno State of our continued efforts to achieve these shared goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Norman. This time I'd like to introduce Reverend Akiko Miyake Stoner from the United Japanese Christian Church for our benediction.
This morning we have gathered in remembrance of those who died and those who continue to suffer. We have gathered in solidarity, united in hope. We have gathered to pray for peace and justice for all people. As we go forth now, we look towards the future. As you know, the survivors of the atomic bombings, the Hibakusha, are now becoming fewer in number as time goes on. Their average age today is 83. Organizations that were once established for the Hibakusha are disbanding because physically it's just not possible for them to gather anymore. Sadly, it's rare to hear the voices of the Hibakusha these days. We are and have been in a time of transition, and an amazing thing is occurring in Japan these days. fourth generation hibakusha, that is, people whose great-grandparents experienced the bombings. These fourth generation hibakusha have started visiting their first generation survivors. These young folks want to hear their stories and are finding creative ways to document and honor them. They are not just collecting stories of the past, but they are dreaming of a better future. The first generation hibakusha are dying one by one, but the voices of Hiroshima and Nagasaki will not cease. Yes, God will not let their spirits be forgotten. Their legacy continues as these young folks have been inspired to become spokespeople for a world without nuclear weapons. It's a daunting task, but they are focusing on what they can do, the difference they can make. High school students from Hiroshima met with a senior UN official to hand her a petition for a nuclear-free world. They collected 120,009 signatures. And in another part of the world, youth in Hawaii have produced Peace on Your Wings, a musical about Sadako Sasaki and her cranes, and they want to take it to Japan to share it with their brothers and sisters in Hiroshima. These are acts of faith. These are acts of peace. Engaging in conversation and hearing people's stories is an act of peace. Cultivating a hunger for unity and bridge building is an act of peace. This is what Jesus was talking about when he said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God." As we go forth, let us ask ourselves what we can do to cultivate this within ourselves. One thing we can do is join together with people all over the world in observing a fast for peace. Fasting is abstinence from food for a certain amount of time. It is an intentional act to inspire freedom, hope, and encouragement, spiritual connection, and solidarity. It has historical, political, and religious significance. So each one of you is invited to explore and define the fast for yourself. To whatever degree you fast, it is a physical, mental, and spiritual commitment to honor the souls of the past and the present in commemoration of these anniversaries. We will end this fast at 11 a.m. this coming Sunday. Whether you are joining us via live stream this morning or you are here in person, you are invited now to this spiritual practice of fasting. So go forth then in peace. Let us look to the young folks as they commit themselves to keeping the legacy alive and pursuing peace with their whole being. Go forth with this blessing from the book of Numbers. May God bless you and keep you. May God cause the divine light to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God turn you towards you and grant you peace. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Akiko. I have a few closing comments. This project has been very meaningful to me personally and as a member of JCL and the broader Japanese American community. After the Empire of Japan's attack on the naval base at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Japanese Americans, mostly American-born citizens, were forcibly detained in America's concentration camps for nearly 4 years. The internment was justified on the basis of military necessity, even though no Japanese American was ever charged, let alone convicted, of espionage or sabotage. Our government has since apologized for this injustice. Over 30,000 Japanese Americans served in the Armed Forces of America during the war, including members of the Military Intelligence Service, the MIS. Members of the MIS served as translators, interpreters, and interrogators during the war and the occupation of Japan after its surrender. One member of the MIS was Lieutenant Kon Tagami of Selma, California, about 30 minutes from here, Selma is. His family was originally from Hiroshima. Lieutenant Tagami served as the personal interpreter for General Douglas MacArthur and liaison to the Emperor Hirohito. At the conclusion of a one-on-one meeting, the Emperor thanked Lieutenant Tagami and the Japanese-American soldiers for serving as a bridge between the two countries. My father, Hifumi Ikeda, also served in the military intelligence service during the occupation of Japan. He rarely talked about his service during the war, but when he did, tears would well up in his eyes. His speech would become choked up as he told of the devastation of Japan, its people, and the hungry children that the soldiers fed. It is said that war is hell. As we leave this place, let us rededicate ourselves to the just and peaceful reconciliation of conflicts at home and abroad. Let us remember these trees as a gift of understanding and healing. Thank you to all those who made this day possible, including our speakers, Dr. Miho Yoshida, Dr. Sudarshan Kabur, Fresno State staff, and the many volunteers, including the origami folders. Thanks to all of you for attending in person and virtually. And at this time, Dr. Kapoor has a presentation to make to Mrs. Kyoko Nosker, who lived in Sendai, Japan at the time of the bombings.
It is my privilege to present this flower to somebody who is very special with us, who was there in Japan when the tragedy happened. On behalf of the Human Rights Coalition, may I ask the members who are member here, Dan, would you stand? And Gail, would you stand, please? Lot of members could not come because of the restriction that we have. We could not actually be here, but these two members of the Human Rights Coalition and myself, on behalf of that, we want to honor Nosker, actually Ms. Nosker, for you for being with us. Thank you very much.
At this time, we will adjourn to the tree plantings, which will conclude today's event. Please note the tree signage. The placards have QR codes with a video about the trees and information about the Green Legacy Hiroshima project and the One Sunny Day initiatives. Stay safe, and we're adjourned for some photo opportunities. Thank you all. Yeah, good. Done.